tells. Yep. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, y'all.
This is DJ Seal Cat and Miss Joanna
Yes,
Lake.
I'm his co-host today.
And we have a special guest today. I'm going to let the guest introduce herself to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go
Hello
ahead.
out there in the podcast world, wherever I'm being listened to right now. My name is Michelle Van Allen, and I am I am an activist. I'm out here in Pennsylvania. I live in New Jersey, but I am been working for the last month, actually the last 8 years, but the last month, knocking on doors, getting people to the polls to vote for our democracy. I first want to thank DJ CO Cat for inviting me into his genre where I can talk to masses. This is amazing because last week I knocked on his door, finding out if he's going to be voting. And we had a really great conversation about the election. And he invited me to come be on the air, which I'm honored, and thank you so much. I wanted to talk to him about making Kamala Harris and Tim Walz our next vice president and president of the United States. So a quick shout out. I want to thank all of my friends that are out there in the trenches, knocking on doors across America every day, getting people to the polls. My postcard babes, if I don't mention them, we have been writing thousands and thousands of postcards to voters across the country, making sure that they get out and use their voice, because we only have 8 more days to put this over the finish line. So we've been working really hard to get people to use their voice, because their vote is their voice. So I just am very excited about this opportunity to be here. I am a mother of 2, a grandmother of 3. I'm about to have a birthday next week, and for my 67th birthday, I would love to have a new president of the United States. It's also my wedding anniversary, and I know my husband's listening. Hi, honey, thanks for tuning in. And we are continuing to work right through Election Day here. I am speaking today on my own behalf. I am part of Action Together New Jersey. It's a activist group that we started right after the 2016 election, where we knew that our country was going to be in danger with the president that got elected, and how we had to continue to work every day to hold the guardrails to protect our democracy. So this has been an everyday thing for me. I am also an elected official in the county that I live in, New Jersey, but I am speaking on behalf of myself today as an activist, making sure that we can, and I'm on the air, dude. Thank you. I'm live. So we hope that everybody will get out and use their voice. I know that Kamala Harris is not only an amazing woman, but I can guarantee she wakes up every day. What she can do to help the middle class grow and help people every day about what they need in their lives. So we'll talk about the other candidate in a little while. However,
Okay.
sorry, we had a 6-bedroom house donated to us in Poconos that we have used as a headquarters. We're working with the Harris campaign. We are working with the Monroe County Democrats, and we are filtering out of this house, going to talk to as many people as we can. There's 168,000 people in this county, and it has been determined that this could be one of the counties that is the deciding factor if we win the election for Harris and Walz, because it leans partly blue, partly red, and we are being persuasive to voters to get them to the polls. So I know that you have some questions for me, and
Yes.
I have some other information I want to share with you. So let's start that.
I'm going to let my co-host go first, you know what I mean? And she's going to ask you some questions.
Don't stage in the kitchen if you don't want other people in your voice.
Yes, well, I'm happy to hear that you guys
Sorry about that.
have,
I have somebody that's not being cooperative. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, we do have some questions.
Sure.
I'll start off with asking, what should the people expect if she becomes president?
Well, first of all, she has stated her platform many, many times. Being vice president to Biden, she worked many years behind the scenes, and a lot of the things that she's accomplished don't get talked about because they're things that are just done every day in their job, just like our jobs every day that we do. I don't walk around and tell everybody what I did every day, but she's accomplished a lot. But what has started with her platform is she really wants to build the middle class. Some of the things that she has said, besides the fact that we know that many of the millionaires and billionaires have not been paying their fair share of taxes. And just that alone, by making sure that the tax law comes back into effect for them, it will provide billions of dollars to help the people that need that help. For example, some of the things that she has said is that she wants to start families out the right way. For people that have a newborn baby, she wants to give them a $6,000 tax credit so that they can provide the things that their child needs to start that first year of life. First-time homeowners, and we know a lot of people are struggling right now looking for a place to live, affordable housing, $25,000 for a down payment to get your house started and to be able to buy a home. People that want to be entrepreneurs. The government has allowed a $5,000 credit in the past, but she wants to raise that to $50,000 because she knows that it's important for people to have enough money to really start their business the right way. Those are just a few things there. But she also wants to make sure that Medicare and Social Security don't get gutted. We want to make sure that the Affordable Care Act stays into effect because so many people did not have health care. A lot of employers don't provide that health care. Yet they afford to have health insurance by the Affordable Care Act. And Trump has tried over 60 times to get that erased for the people while he was in office. And we have to make sure we protect that. She also wants to make sure that she protects women's health care. That's the majority of the topic that people are talking about when we knock on the doors, because if it's not a woman of childbearing age, it's a woman that has a daughter or a granddaughter of childbearing age. And right now, there's over 20 states that have severe abortion bans in act. And that's not only just abortion, it's health care for women. There's been stories you've probably heard in the news about women that have died because they didn't get the proper health care. Two stories that just came to light of women in Georgia that wanted the child that they were pregnant with, but the pregnancy wasn't viable and they miscarried. However, going to the hospital to tell them they were in the middle of a miscarriage, the hospital doctors and nurses are so afraid of being sued or locked up in jail because they've helped someone with their health care that they turned them away, and both women passed away. One left behind a 6-year-old child. The other one, there's a few that will never, that did survive, but will never be able to have children. So making sure that women's health care stays in effect. And there's a lot of people out there that we've talked to that said, well, I don't believe in abortion for myself, but I do believe that a woman has a right to the autonomy over her own body, to make that choice for herself. And so it's between you and your doctor, or you and your priest, or your pastor, or whoever you want to have that discussion with. But the government should not be in a woman's doctor's office, trying to dictate whether she can have a child or not. I mean, those are just a few of the things that she's talking about, making sure that it stays in effect. The Project 2025 900-page, I call it a manifesto, that Trump and his inner circle have put together through the Heritage Foundation is basically going to erase most of our civil liberties. They want to cut all federal funding for public schools. Now, what will that mean to the average person? Well, if you're not wealthy enough to be able to send your child to a private school, there will be no federal funding for your child to be educated. And that's going to devastate our school system. Right. They don't believe in climate change. DeSantis in Florida has taken it out of all government documents that you can't even talk about climate change. Yet we just saw what happened with the 2 hurricanes that devastated the South, Helene and Milton. The people that lived in Asheville, North Carolina, 300 miles from the coast, their town was decimated and wiped out. How does that happen with a hurricane? Well, the climate change is happening, and they're denying it. They don't want us to focus on that. Yet we know that the temperatures are rising around the earth, and mankind is exacerbating it.
No, hold up.
So
So what
we have to do something for the
you
future.
said they're denying it, right? Who's denying it?
The stream Republicans and the folks that, well, the rich oil companies, because they want to continue to get rich, the people that are being told that it doesn't matter, wind and solar are bad. Basically, the Republicans, the Democrats have been voting for climate change to mitigate climate change all along by what they've just done with the Infrastructure Act and the acts that will help towns be able to develop their wind and solar power. They'll be able to make sure that we do have power for the people to be able to operate every day, but we need to start changing how we use power. For example, electric vehicles have really come onto the forefront right now. In fact, I own one myself. I'm thrilled with it. And there have been government incentives to be able to purchase that car and to make sure that we can change how we drive, because the amount of pollution that's put in the air every day by the cars that are on the road and all mass transportation that we do, it affects our atmosphere. So they, meaning the Republicans in Congress and the Senate that are voting against it. The one thing that comes to mind with the border crisis, a lot of people are discussing that. Before summertime happened, when Biden was still running for president, and he still is our president, by the way, and he's doing a damn good job. There was a bipartisan bill that was presented to Congress that they both agreed on, both sides agreed on, that, you know what, this is the best solution we have right now by hiring more border agents, by getting more money to the border to help mitigate the issues that were going on. And I won't pretend to know all of them, but I do know that, yes, it's a crisis that we have to help people that are coming in figure out where they're going to go and if they can be here legally. They want to be documented, people coming into the country. However, you know, it's a process that they have to go through. Well, this bipartisan bill was presented. Mike Johnson in the head that runs the, he's the head of House Majority. He was ready to sign it and pass it on to Biden to sign through. Well, Donald Trump said, you know what, this is going to help the Democrats during the election. So I'm telling you all not to sign it and to let it go. And there it went. So people are concerned about the border. We tried to help that situation, and Donald Trump wouldn't let it happen. He doesn't care about what's going on at the border. He just cares that he gets back into office.
So let me ask you a question for a second. So are you always been a Democrat, or was you ever a Republican at any point?
I grew up in a family that never spoke politics. Both of my parents have passed, but I don't know if they were a Democrat or Republican. We never discussed politics. There was nothing that it wasn't on my radar. It really didn't start to come to my forefront. I don't ever even remember what I registered for when I'm 67, so there was no automatic registration back then. I registered to vote, I guess, and I voted probably how other people discussed with me who would be a good candidate. I really didn't become politically active until my children were older in high school. I started to see some things that really were important. I guess back when Clinton became president, and I really started to tune in. I really got politically active when Obama was running, and I felt that, you know what, our voices needed to be heard. And I wasn't happy with what the Bushes did. I wasn't happy with Al Gore losing the presidency over a few hanging chads in Florida that the Supreme Court determined that he lost the election. So those things started really to come to an awakening for me. I've always been an environmentalist, caring about where our world is. I've always been a philanthropic person that has helped other people. I've been plenty of volunteer organizations and just, you know, giving back my time to others. However, I guess when Obama was running and got elected, I really started to get involved. So my Democratic wings started to sprout, and I have been deeply involved.
I see you guys have a team, because even today, these was delivered at my house again. So you got to hope. Yeah,
somebody came to your house again?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Remember Geo got that. You weren't on my list to talk to.
I know that. I know that.
Yeah, your neighbor was. So
Yeah.
I guess you probably popped up on a list for someone to come and talk to you. That's
What-
probably what happened. That's why you got the second literature.
Yeah,
We
well,
really want your vote.
I'm kind of glad that you stopped by, because there's a few. I have I don't know this gentleman personally, but he speaks out a lot, and a lot of blacks. We're gonna go there for a second. A lot of blacks do listen to him, right? And Kamala Harris. Am I pronouncing her name right?
Kamala Harris. Yes,
Kamala
thank
Harris.
you for asking that.
Yeah, she needs a lot of black voters too, in order, because
does.
Trump had a lot of black voters to put him in when he went in. So I'm gonna play a clip for you real quick, right? And
Okay.
his name is Dr. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Dr. Umar Johnson.
I'm not sure,
Dr.
but maybe I'll
Umar Johnson.
recognize him.
I'm gonna let you hear what he has to say, right?
Okay.
And I want you to give me a comment on what he has to say.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play that for you real quick.
Thank you.
Let's do that.
We know there's a lot of pageantry in the presidency.
Mostly pageantry, I would argue.
So, as a Pan-Africanist, what we have representing our country as the United States of America can be one or two things right now. Billionaire, older white man who has been known to not care about the black community.
Correct.
Or a black woman that at least shows that she has some sense of compassion, empathy for the people of the United States of America.
But this is the same woman who said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to only benefit black people, while she sat in office and watched President Joe Biden pass an anti-Asian hate bill, anti-Asian hate executive order, Native American executive order, LGBTQ executive order, and law.
Now, those are a lot of semantics in the sense, because we've heard this argument before. She can say a lot of that stuff is taken out of context. A lot of the process of when she's saying she wants to do things for all people and not just black people specifically. Well, going back to what I said, as in the pageantry of representation, you still would lean more to say that you would, this old, rich, billionaire, 1% white man, be the representation of the United States of America, opposed to a woman who has done the work.
What work?
She's definitely done community work.
What has she done for black people?
So I got to just ask this question then. Who is Dr. Umar Johnson voting for?
I don't have a reason to vote for either candidate. I might show up and vote for the Honorable Frederick Douglass. I might vote for Queen Mother Ida B. Wells. I
Marcus
might
Garvey.
vote for Sojourner Truth. I might vote for Booker T. I might vote for Fred Hampton, George Jackson. But I promise you one thing, I'm not voting for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris.
So what's the solution?
For Vice President Harris, she can get my vote. Former President Trump, he could get my vote. Make a public pledge of what you're going to do for us when you get in there. That includes one of the 5 major areas of concern for black America.
Which are?
Okay, so I wanted to play that because a lot of people do listen to that gentleman right there, Dr. Umar Johnson, as far as black votes go, right? And I know you heard everything he has to say. No, I'm not into politics. I took the interview because I run a radio show, and I haven't been following neither parties, just to be honest with you. I've heard stuff.
But I will stress that you do have a vote, and you have a family, and you have other people in your family, and you want to think about their future. So, yes.
Yeah,
and
right.
when I do talk to people, when they tell me, and thank you for saying that, because I do come across a lot of people that say, I'm not political, I'm not into politics. And I said, I can understand that, because I was where you were at and not that long ago. I said, but what is important to you? What is the things that are valuable in your life? And they'll say, well, I want to make sure my children have a good school to attend. I want to make sure that I have affordable health care. I want to make sure that the water I drink and the food I eat is healthy and safe. By the way, they want to do away with the Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drug Administration. So, and I say, I want to have clean air to breathe. I want to make sure that the bridge I'm driving over doesn't crumble. The infrastructure is in place. And I say, that's all great stuff. But who makes the decisions of those things being in place for you to be able to live in a safe world? It's the people we elect. So we use our voice to give them voice to help us. And politicians, there's a lot that are out there that aren't good. There's a lot that make mistakes. And as far as Kamala Harris goes, she's had a very long career being in the political arena and also as a district attorney, where she did help people. She always said, when I walk into the courtroom, I don't say I'm here representing this person. I'm here for the people. So I did hear what that man had to say, and I can understand his hesitation to commit to either party. I will say that throwing away a vote on a third party, this is not the year to do that. This isn't the year to make a protest vote, because fortunately or unfortunately, there are two parties, Democrats and Republicans. Yes, there's Green. Yes, there's liberal. There's Libertarian. There's, all kinds of different people that will raise their hand and say, this is my party. But the two majority are the Democrats and Republicans. One of them is going to get elected. I let people know that, this is not a Valentine that you're writing to. They're not perfect. They're not in love. This is a chess move. This is a move to make our country better and stronger. And the person that was interviewing him, who was that?
That's Nick Cannon. He's a celebrity. He's been out a lot of movies. He has
It
his
was
own.
Nick Cannon?
That's Nick Cannon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize. Oh, I know who Nick Cannon is. Oh, great. Okay. So, he had made some really good points. And when Kamala does say that she's not standing up for just all Black people, I wouldn't want a candidate to say, I'm just standing for all white people. She's standing for everybody, all Americans, including Republicans, including extremists. She's going to be in office for all of us. She wants to build the middle class. She wants to make sure that people get their fair share.
Yeah, but I feel like, not to interrupt you, but I feel like a lot of people might feel like she's done things for immigration while she's been vice president, and nothing has been done for the Black community, which is why it's like, well, if it wasn't done then, why should we vote for her now that she's trying to become president?
Well, don't forget that the president is the one who signs bills into legislation. The vice president is there by his side, and they do discuss a lot of things. The laws will come into effect because Congress and Senate are the ones that control that. And if they don't bring it forth to the president to be signed, it doesn't go anywhere. And if you remember, when President Obama got elected, the first words out of Mitch McConnell's mouth was, I'm going to make sure that he doesn't get any Supreme Court justices and he doesn't get anything done. Don't tell me that you got elected to help the American people, because I do remember as a younger person that a Democrat and Republican ran against each other. Here's my side, here's my side, here's my policy. One of them got elected, and then Congress moved forward for the good of the American people. It doesn't happen anymore. It's about, I want to do what I can to stop you so I have the power. It's insane that they're not there for everyone. She wants to be there for everyone. And I just want to share a couple of quick facts with you here about what she's doing for the community. She capped the cost, along with President Biden, the cost of insulin for $35 for seniors, and is fighting to lower the cost of childcare, elder care, and preschool. That's just not white people. That's everyone.
All right. So
Go ahead. Want to say something?
I'm going to let you continue. But my thing is, right, we can't sit here and disregard the fact that it's lopsided in the United States, right?
It has been lopsided since
Blacks
day one.
don't equally match up to whites in United States. So what are Kamala Harris going to do about that? That's my question.
She also talks a lot about the fact that the Black community in our country, because we're not that far removed from what slavery was, that horrible institution, which turned into a segregation in Black Crow, which has tuned into people still not being able to get ahead. The people of the South that were able to build intergenerational wealth. Black people were never allowed to do that because they were the ones that built the wealth for them. That's so wrong. Reparations still have to be discussed. She wants to help the middle class as well as the Black middle class, or the people in your community, to get to the middle class, to be able to have intergenerational wealth, where you have a home that's part of your life, and you're able to hand that down to your children. You're able to build some financial security for yourself, that you can not only take care of yourself, but eventually hand something down to your kids. one of the other facts in here, that she's helped over 250,000 Black Americans buy a home, and is fighting to lower rent prices and making housing more affordable by building more homes. She wants to, in her 4 years, she wants to make sure at least 3 million homes are built that are affordable and people are able to be able to live in. Right now, corporations are buying up all the, not all, but many of the houses that are for sale, that they either need to be renovated or they're just on the market. And so what happens when they can afford to pay $500,000 for a home that might have cost $150,000 a few years ago, and they can rent it out for an exorbitant price that people can't afford. Both of my son lives in Texas, and they have good jobs and they can afford what they do. My daughter lives in Massachusetts. She can't get her head above water, and she's a single woman with no children. Yet the economy for her isn't allowing her to buy a house. The economy is good, but it depends on how you manage your own money. Number one. Number two, if you don't have the wherewithal to get yourself ahead, it's affecting everybody in all walks of life. And I don't even like to say the word race. We're one human race. Whenever I filled out a job application or they wanted to say what race you are, I usually say
They
human.
should take that off the application, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely.
That should not be there. This is why,
Absolutely.
going back, I'm saying equally, you know what I mean? If we should be,
cut ourselves, we all bleed red. We're all humans.
Yeah, I believe, I believe, and I strongly believe this as Black. So, I got to speak for Black people too, right? Because
Yes,
I'm Black. The things that we've been through, which is past and gone, but technically still going through it in some sense today, for us to be equal, right? You got to remove that your race off of the application.
I 100% agree.
The prison system has to change, right?
That has just been an extension to me of Jim Crow and slavery, because that system has been built to move your Black people through the system, and the whole prison system is screwed up. Cory Booker, I don't know, he's the senator in my state. He's done a lot of work in that field because he knows that it's not fair. We know it's disproportional on how many people get pulled over and arrested. A young Black man can be pulled over and have a tiny bit of a roach in his car, and he's going to go to jail. A white kid can get pulled over and have heroin in the back seat, and they're like, your daddy's going to get you out of jail because he's got the money. It is so disproportionate, and those things need to change. It's not an overnight change, but it is something that we need to work forward.
Okay.
I think that somebody like Kamala Harris, who has experienced a lifestyle as a child that they didn't have a lot of money, but she had a mom that was able to help her and her sister move forward in their life, even though they didn't have money. And eventually, when they were teenagers, their mom could afford to build a home or buy a home and work towards what they wanted to have. And she put herself through school. There's Kamala Harris, as a prosecutor, she locked up sexual predators to protect women and girls. As a California Attorney General, cracked down on transnational gangs trafficking across the border and took on big banks on behalf of the homeowners. As senator and now as vice president, she's expanding access to health care, lead the fight for reproductive freedom, and working to lower costs. And
now,
as
what
far
is she
as
going to do as far as the marijuana laws? Because you did mention the fact that, somebody can have a roach in their car and get locked up for it. So,
And it's legal in some states.
a lot of them.
it is legal. Right now, it's legal in New Jersey. And there's, I forget how the amount of states that it is legal in. And I think Obama and Biden did, it's not the word pardon isn't the right word, but whatever they did, they reversed some of the convictions against people that were put in for just having, a joint in their car and got arrested. They did give them clemency or whatever the word is for it. I'm not sure. But I totally agree that it's disproportionate. We have to continue to strive to make it more equal. Look, it was 400 years of slavery. We have to move towards, away from the way that people think. It's ingrained in a lot of people's minds that they feel the white race is superior to any other race. If you're not a white Christian nationalist in this country, basically Trump that feels you have no value. He wants to deport 10 million immigrants, whether they're documented or undocumented, out of this country. Build some camps where they're going to put them if he gets elected, so he can figure out how to move them out of the country or put them in prison. And that would include a lot of, people from other countries. Look what they did to the poor people in Springfield, Ohio, those Haitian folks that were asked to come to that town to help them build their economy. They have been integrated and welcomed and helped them develop their area, which is now thriving. And somehow, one woman said something about a cat missing, and maybe one of the neighbors ate it, and it blew up to this giant story of now the Haitian immigrants there, they are afraid to leave their homes. There have been bomb threats. Their children are afraid to go to school because this one man said something derogatory, and he repeats it over and over again. And when you start to repeat a lie enough, you get enough people to believe you. So I am in total agreement with you. One thing I did want to mention about that Kamala Harris wants to work on, she wants to extend free health coverage to Black women who have given birth from 2 to 12 months, helping to address Black maternal mortality. We know right now that it's disproportionate how many Black women will die in childbirth, or their child will die because they are ignored by their doctors, they're ignored by the healthcare system, and they're not taken seriously when they go to a hospital. She is on top of that. She wants to make sure that changes, because we are a first world country, yet we are also first in the amount of women that die in childbirth or lose their child. And it's going to be worse with the abortion ban. By the way, abortion's not going to go away if they make this a nationwide ban, because right now 20 states have some kind of abortion ban, and most of them are severe. It's not going to go away. It's just going to become illegal. Abortions are still going to happen. And we're going to have to go back to the 50s, where a woman's in an alleyway trying to have somebody help her end her pregnancy because the government won't allow it to happen. It's really, I'm terrified, to be honest with you. I can't wait for this 8 days to be over, but I'm so afraid that what's going to happen.
Oh, we only got 8 days left?
Yes.
Pardon me?
We only have 8 days left.
Yeah, till the election.
Right
We won't probably know November 5th who won, because Pennsylvania, the state that we're in there right now, they don't start counting their vote by mail ballots until that day. So it's probably going to take them 2, 3, 4 days to finalize. And Pennsylvania could be the deciding factor on who wins the most electoral college votes, which, by the way, I hope we can do away with that someday too, because the popular vote, it should be how someone's elected, not because Wyoming has 100,000 people, California has 50 million, and they have equal say on who becomes president. But that's for another day. The Supreme Court right now, unfortunately, is very lopsided. Trump was able to put 3 people on that Supreme Court that all aligned with what he wanted, and they were the ones that overturned Roe versus Wade. If he gets elected, probably Alito and Thomas will step down because they're both in their 70s, and they have what they want. They're rich, and millionaires support them to make sure their agenda gets pushed through. He'll be able to put in a 40-year-old that has a lifetime appointment and do whatever he wants. They've already given him immunity. No one is above the law. He has immunity. That means the statement he said when he first got elected, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. Oh my God, they just gave him the right to do that. That is terrifying.
But you know what? Not agreeing with what he said, but that goes back to what I said equally, because the white privilege in America is very overwhelming. This is why he makes statements like that.
Yes.
Because white privilege, he probably can do that and get away with it because of who he is. So this is why,
already gotten away with.
And this is why a lot of black people voted for him too, because he's unapologetic, I should say, right? And he just don't be afraid to say whatever he want to say, and he'll say the things that most presidents afraid to say or don't want to say. Right. I'm not saying I'm going to vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. This is this private who I'm going to vote for. I'm not going to speak that live on air. What I'm saying is you have to pay attention to why he's saying what he's saying.
Absolutely.
And I know he's off the chain a lot, but a lot of stuff he says also you got to pay attention to, because he's saying things that Kamala Harris will not say, or Obama or Biden or Bush, whoever, would not say.
That part.
A lot of things he said that are off the chain are so inappropriate that he shouldn't be saying them. Yet a lot of people chalk it up. Oh, that's just Donald being Donald. No, no, no. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. He has shown us who he is. He has shown us what he's going to do and how he's going to run the country. He wants to be a dictator from day one. He wants retribution against anybody that has said anything against him. People in Congress, people that have written articles about him. He wants to be able to lock them up immediately. It's insane that that's what his first thing in office. He wants to arrest his political enemies.
We also had a little bit more money when he was in the White House.
Yes,
Yeah, and you and I discussed that.
Yeah.
And let's go a little further on
And
that.
and the
because-
gas price was a little cheaper too.
Well, how much is gas right now?
Like
I've seen it for
like
$2.89
$3.25.
around here.
I see all the way up to
$3.39.
I see all the way up to $3.50. That's really high.
Yeah.
Okay, and don't forget, gas prices are not controlled by the president. It is controlled by corporations, and corporate greed is what will keep those prices high.
Yes,
and
but-
how can it go
So,
from 50 cents lower
who's-
or higher in 1 week?
Who's
It's
the
because
president?
It's going to be the 4th of July. Everybody's traveling. Let's raise that price.
What I'm saying,
COVID. Let me go back to that really quick, because first of all, when he got into office, he came into 8 years of Obama, saving us from a depression, building the economy, and then he inherited that economy and the amount of people that were in the workforce. Then all of a sudden he gets in, he's there for a little while. He didn't want to be elected, number one, but then he was, and he didn't know what to do. He had no people in place. Then COVID hit. All of a sudden, the pandemic is here. People go into lockdown, and who's now traveling to work? Pretty much nobody except essential workers. The price of gas, it didn't go up and didn't fluctuate because people weren't traveling. The price of food, it stayed down for a while, but then corporate greed started kicking in. Well, wait a minute. If I can charge $50 for 10 rolls of toilet paper instead of $12, I'm going to do it because people need it. So, and unfortunately, they have already admitted that we raised the price during that time, and there's no need to go back. And the corporate CEOs are making billions of dollars, and we're paying the price for that. But again, the government doesn't control that. I'm sorry, not the government. Well, the government doesn't, and it doesn't. So, and you said that you were working from home, and so you didn't have the expense of eating at your place of work, gas to go back and forth. That would have given you a lot of money, a lot more money that you didn't have to spend to commute. Those stimulus checks that were given, he insisted that his name be signed on there. Why? Because he wanted to make it look like he gave us that money. That was government stimulus checks that were taxpayer dollars. So it wasn't that he gave us more money. He just wanted
so
it to
he
look
basically
that way.
gave us back what's ours. If it's
That's what it
taxpayers'
sounds
money.
like.
But he made it sound like it came out of his own pocket. It did not.
Well, I don't
And he
think
had to give
anyone
stimulus check
believe it.
because
I don't
people
think
couldn't afford their rent. They couldn't afford
I
to
don't
pay
think
the bills.
I don't think anyone believe it came out of his own pocket. I definitely didn't believe that.
Well, I've
you know
talked
what I
to
mean?
people that
didn't
have said that.
Yeah, but you know,
His name was on the check. He gave me his money.
so
No,
let me tell
no,
you
he
which
didn't.
part of that I agree with. It came from us because, you know, I think tax is too much, number one. Like when you work your paycheck, they take too much money out of there. You
Way
work
too
so many
much.
hours. You got kids to feed. But how much percent they take from it now? I don't even, it's so crazy. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. They take too much, a lump sum of the money. So him giving that money back to us, I don't see the problem.
No, I'm not saying that it was a problem. He made it sound like he gave it back to us. And guess what? Obama and Biden gave stimulus checks too. So it's about him. He said it and he did it. And let's talk one other thing about, he's talking about the tariffs that we're going to make billions of dollars because of the tariffs. Number one, he doesn't understand what a tariff is. It's basically now going to be a Trump tax tariff that's put on us. But just to break it down for people to understand, a tariff is money that's added onto a product that comes from another country that we assess to them to control the flow of products in and out of the country. But let's just go to one example, Best Buy. Best Buy imports all of their televisions from overseas, and a lot from China. So let's say that he's going to impose a 20% tariff on any of the products that come from other nations, because he's acting like that's going to make our country money. No, no, no. If the television comes in, you go to Best Buy to buy a $1,000 television, and he is imposing a 20% tariff, that $1,000 television is now going to be $1,600. Who's paying that extra tax on that? Not China. They're not going to pay that money. They might have to impose that when they sell it to us, but Best Buy is going to pass that on to the consumer. And that's just one big ticket item. All of the things that we buy from overseas, people go into Walmart and they're shopping. This was made in China. This was made in China. This was made in China. And they're now saying that the average family, and this is statistics from Nobel economic laureates that studied this. I'm not the expert. I'm repeating what they told the public, that the average American family, their costs for these tariffs that he plans on imposing will be an extra $4,000 out of their pocket to buy the same products they would normally buy every day. But now, unfortunately, he wants to impose a tariff that he thinks is going to make our country money. No, it's already been, it's money that has to go back to the other country because we have their product. So it just, he doesn't make any sense. He doesn't know how governments run. If you asked him really what a tariff was, he probably couldn't define it. Obviously you can tell that I feel so passionate about this. And, you know, I just want to say that anyone that's thinking about voting for Donald Trump or sitting this one out or voting for a third party because you are fed up, be aware. And I wrote this down, so I want to share. Your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, we as women, and I'm speaking for women right now because I am one, we will become collateral damage in this. No decision about the election is still a decision. Incompetence and corruption were and still are the cornerstone of his entire 4 years in office. He showed us who he was, and we should believe him. You know, the weight of the world is literally on Kamala Harris's shoulders. I just talked to an international couple that live in Portugal that I became friends with, and they were telling me, you know, asking me how it was going over here. And they have to say, everybody we talk to on the European continent are terrified if he gets elected, because it's not just America that it's going to affect. He wants immediately to pull out of Ukraine. Now, we saw what happened in World War II when Hitler got into power and he marched across Europe, and he wasn't stopped until America got involved. We don't want to get involved in a war. We are helping Ukraine hold back the wall so that they don't lose their autonomy and their country. But if he pulls out of there immediately, Ukraine goes down. And guess what? Poland goes down next. And guess what? The next country goes down. Because he's another power-hungry dictator or authoritarian fascist that wants to rule the world. I just don't understand why people can't just do the right thing, because that's who I am. However, there are people that unfortunately shouldn't be in power, but somehow they got there. I wanted to share something with you too. I don't know if you saw Michelle Obama speak the other night. I so value what she says and how she had her as First Lady, what she did, and how she cares about our country. And of course, she wants Kamala Harris to be elected. This was really pertaining to women's rights, because abortion is pretty much on every ballot in every state this year, that women's healthcare rights are being taken away from them. And no one should speak for me but me. But this is, I'm paraphrasing what she wrote, but she said, a vote for him is a vote against we, all of us women, against our health, against our worth. Men, before you can cast your vote, ask yourself, what side of history do you want to be on? We have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men we love and the men that love us. Our lives and our worth are more than we are being shown. And women, your vote is private, regardless of the political views of your partner. Use your own judgment and vote your values and protect yourself and all women and girls in your life. Make no mistake, if he gets elected, the abortion ban will be nationwide, no exception for rape, incest, or the life of the mother. Every state, and in every state, and make no mistake, abortion won't stop happening. It'll just be, unfortunately, illegal. But it's still going to happen. And to me, this is one of the things that I'm passionate about, because while I'm not having any more children, I do have a daughter, I have a granddaughter, and I fear for her life. She's 6 years old, but in a blink, she's going to be 16. She lives in Texas. Texas has the most restrictive health care for women laws right now. They are tracking women's menstrual cycles. They are they want their health records. Trump won't reveal any of his health records, but yet they want to get into a woman's health records and know everything about her. They also have a law now that if you're leave the state and you're pregnant, they want to know where you're going, and they're going to arrest you if you're going to somewhere to have an abortion. It's whether it's because you just don't want a baby or because it's affecting whether you live or not. Um, I just can't say enough about that. But all of the other things that Project 2025 is going to be bringing down on us, I took the liberty, my personal self, that I've been handing out. What did I do with it? I probably gave one to you. One of these cards that Project 25 is a 900-page document, again, that you and I aren't going to read. However, Democracy Forward has put out a QR code that I copied and put it on this business card that I give to people so they can open it up and see the things that we're going to lose if he becomes president. Again, federal funding for public schools, the Affordable Care Act will go away. Every high school senior is going to have to register for the military. Climate change will be totally ignored. Social Security and Medicare will be gutted, and I depend on those to live. I'm going to be 67, though that's my income right now, and that's how my health care. There's so many things that will affect people in everyday lives, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. 900
Okay,
pages is a
so
lot
out of
to
all of
comprehend.
those things that you have named today, what do you think is the number one priority when she gets in? What is her number one priority?
Building the middle class. She wants to make sure that the average person like you, me, people that are maybe just living paycheck to paycheck, that's not enough security. If someone gets sick, and especially COVID's still around. People that were getting
Yes, it
sick during
is.
COVID, they were down for months. Even if you get like the flu and you can't have to be out of work for 2 weeks, that can devastate someone's household income. So being able, again, to build intergenerational wealth, to allow people to be able to put a nest egg away for themselves, if their kids want to go to college, to be able to have money to do that. Right now, we are because the very wealthy people in our country pay very little in taxes. We are the ones that are carrying the weight of that. But yet they drive on our bridges. They enjoy anything that's, national parks, all of those things that the government provides for. But we are the ones that are paying for everything. They want to take away SNAP. They want to take away WIC. Child poverty has now increased since Trump allowed the regulations that were put in to help with the funding for children. I think we should have a national, the states like Wisconsin, where Tim Walz comes from. He implemented a free lunch for every child in that state, whether you can afford it or not. It takes away the stigma of a child having a ticket that says, I don't have enough money for lunch, or that my parents can't afford it. And it has worked so wonderfully. I think free lunch should be for every child in school. And these are things that they want to help do by making sure that a child is fed, a child has care. They want to make sure universal daycare for children, that that mothers can have paternity leave, or maternal leave, paternity, I guess, that they can take 2 months off of work or 6 months off of work to be able to stay home and care for that baby. So many of our children being raised by someone else. And I know the joy of my kids when they were little, that I ended up working nights when my husband worked days, so that one of us could be with them all the time. But a lot of single moms, I became a single mom eventually, and I didn't have that luxury of staying home with my kids. Unfortunately, they were a little bit older, so they were in school and I could make it work. But I feel for a woman that says, yeah, my child's 6 weeks old and I have to go back to my job. She wants to make sure that you can provide for that kid and get a tax break. The tax break that she wants to give for all of us as middle class or below is going to be millions of dollars that are going to help us. And I'm here, I'm an average person like you. I won't pretend to know everything, but I know when I look at this person that is going to do everything every day as our president to make sure that America moves forward and rights this ship that has right now been sinking when Trump was in charge, and we're trying to fix everything he did. I believe in her. I believe that she is going to be the person that can make this happen. And there are many female leaders around the world that have done great things for their country.
Let me ask a question.
Sure.
Before I ask a question, let me give the phone number out. I'm going to open the phone line for a couple of minutes. The number is 848-480-6371. Again, that number is 848-480-6371. We got Miss Michelle Van Allen.
Yes.
That's the name. Yeah, she's live, and she wants you guys to go out and vote for Democrat. Vote Democrat, right?
Absolutely.
That's
and
what
don't
you
forget
represent.
about your down ballot tickets. And by the way, for folks that need some help with their voting, if you go to www.vote.gov, that will help people understand in case they're not sure if their registration is in order. A lot of people have been purged off the voter rolls. They purged thousands and thousands when Stacey Abrams was running for governor, that she has tried to fix that just because, that they didn't have an I dotted or a T crossed. And make sure your registration is in order. You have 8 days to do that. Most states now, you can't register to vote now. It's too late. There still is early voting going on in a lot of states. But if you're not sure of where you're supposed to vote, or if your registration is in order, you have the right to do that. Vote.gov. And also, don't be afraid to go to the polls and ask for a provisional ballot that, you had decided at the last minute, but you didn't raise your hand that you were going to vote. I don't know. Go to the polls, and there's, numbers that you can call, like for Pennsylvania, where we are. I don't know what the national number is, but in Pennsylvania, there's an 800 number that people can call that say, look, I'm standing here at the poll and they're telling me I have to get out of line, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. You can call. There's attorneys and people waiting there that can give you help. So look that up on your own state website.
Also,
Georgia,
let me
Pardon?
give out a little more information. Also, if you're trying to make a comment on the website, MIXUPTV.com, I just noticed when I tried to comment myself, I had an issue. You could make the comment now, because I know people probably was trying to make comments and couldn't. Someone just sent a comment. The person named Kim. What's the plan for blacks? That's the question that was asked. They're saying because it's lopsided, you know what I mean? And if she do,
we just discussed this earlier.
And if she do become president, you know what I mean? She got to lean towards black a little bit more because to balance it out. You can't say you're doing the same for everyone, because it's not the way it is now.
It's not fair for everyone.
You know what I mean? So what is she going to do for blacks?
As a white woman in this country, I recognize that it's not fair for everyone. As a woman, I have been, I don't want to say discriminated against, but thought of as a lesser person in a man's world, in a job that I've had, at coaching my son's baseball team. No one stepped up, so I did. How do you know what you're talking about? You don't know about baseball. I mean, that's so minor, but I know that I have been discriminated against being a woman. As a black woman, it's incomprehensible, because your value is not what a white man thinks it is. I was just having this conversation earlier with someone about when if Trump gets in charge, he wants to all this the civil servants that are working, that are nonpartisan within the government, and there's I think 4,000 jobs right now. I'm just throwing out a figure, but I think that's correct, that belong to civil servants, that are people that go in and do their job every day, nonpartisan job. A lot of those people are black women that have those jobs, and they got that job because there was a test that they took that didn't say who they were or where they came from. They took the test, they passed it, and they got the job. Trump wants to purge all of those jobs and get rid of all the civil servants that are working there. And I'm sorry, I believe because he's a racist, he does not want those black women to have those jobs. And yes, it's not fair. If you think the balance is going to be if Trump gets elected, it will not be.
If Trump is actually racist, he's a weird racist. I'm going to explain why I say that, because if you follow the history from Trump all the way up, he was around a lot of black artists, like rappers and stuff. He did. I heard a lot of rappers like,
They
you
were
know,
around him because they served a purpose, because he thought he could bring people in. But if you look what he did to the Central Park Five, that he took out a full-page ad that he wanted them to go to jail and be executed when they were all cleared of the
but
charges
didn't
against
didn't
them.
Biden and didn't Biden and him sign a bill to lock up black people or something like that? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong
That's
about
very
that.
vague, so I can't comment on that.
Okay.
But Donald's father, he was also, he started the racism. They would not rent to black people. They would not sell to black people. They made sure that they kept them in their place, if you will. Listen to anything that his niece, Mary Trump, who has nothing to do with him anymore, and she's a trained psychologist. She has put out many papers and essays about this man, written a book as well, about the inner circle of this man and how he operated. And she will tell anyone that will listen that his racism goes way back to his father. And I guess we can say children live what they learn, but you're a grown man. You should know better. He will bring black people into his circle if it serves a purpose for him. Just like some people say, I have a black friend. Well, no, you have a friend, but to him, he will use that representation because he wants to pull people in that will, okay, well, they must be okay because this guy is hanging out with them. But if you listen to any of the celebrities that are out there right now that are black or ethnic background, they are against him. They know what's happening. Samuel Jackson just spoke the other night when Beyonce was in Houston with Kamala Harris, and he was saying something about the property that he now owns. I think it might be in Georgia. Maybe it was Tyler Perry. I'm not sure because I was listening to it while I was driving and knocking on doors. But he owns this land that was slave owner owned, and he has turned it into a place that he's helping build up that generation, the black generations that have been denied all of these years to be able to build up themselves. You can't tell someone to pull up themselves up by their bootstraps when they don't even have boots on. You need to be able to understand that where someone has come from and where they need the help, and you reach out and help them. And I believe that's what Kamala Harris is going to do. It's not going to be overnight. This has taken over 400 years to get where we are. And we need to change the mindset of people to have them understand that we are all human, that we all need to work together and to bridge that divide. And Donald Trump's not going to do it. He's just not going to do it. Have you listened to anything he said? The vermin that's coming into our country and the horrible people, and our land is garbage. This country is garbage. Talk about this place that you want to be the president of. It's just insane. Kamala Harris gets on stage. She goes, I'm going to be president for everyone, no matter what side of the aisle you are on, no matter if you're black, white, Native American, Asian. She wants to be able to help everybody, but she has to have that chance. She has to be able to get elected to, again, make us go forward. We don't want to go back. We don't want to go back to the 50s where women have to be in an alleyway getting abortion. We don't want to have to go back to where, people are second-class citizens again. It's just...
You know what I think? One of Donald Trump's, the way he get looked at for the things he say is his choice of words. Because a lot of things he says, not agreeing with everything, need to be said. But the way he put it, make him look.
Give me an example.
Ah.
I know. I'm putting you on the spot. You're putting me on the spot.
I know. He says a lot of stuff, man. Like, he said so much. I have to think. I have to get something specific that he said. Use the country, for instance. You said it's the country that he's trying to be president of. He said it's garbage. You know what I mean? I don't think he should use that word because...
But he feels that way, Geocat.
Yes, but it's a lot of stuff that goes on in this country where should not be going on.
We're not perfect.
Look,
no country is. We are not perfect.
This country spend billions of dollars in other country, right? To support other country. But you got people on the sidewalk sleeping, eating out of garbage. People got nowhere to go. People can't find food in their house in this country.
Mm-hmm. And that's why somebody like Kamala Harris, again, has said she wants to build 3 million homes in the next couple of years to help people have affordable housing, that corporations aren't controlling who can buy a house and who can live where. She wants to be able to bring down the prices through the corporation greed and gouging us, where, you hear people talk about, I can't believe the price of eggs. Well, you know what? It's corporate greed, number one. Number two, I'll go to knock on somebody's door that has paraphernalia all over the place for Trump and his election, and 15 flags on their truck, and dressed to the nines and his crap that he puts out, $300 gold sneakers that he'll sell. And they'll go, yeah, but what about the price of eggs? I'm sorry. People also have to learn how to manage their own money. That's not managing it. If you want to feed your family, you're not buying all that stuff. That's just a small example. However, we have to give this woman a chance to, again, right the ship. Obama did his best. He helped get us out of the economy that was tanking. He had to bail out, these hedge fund companies that were, did all of these loans for houses. I forget the terminology for it. It's evading me, but it was false. They would give somebody a mortgage and sell to somebody else and sell to somebody else and sell to somebody else, to where when the person had a default on their mortgage because of the economy at the time, then they had a default, and all of a sudden the financial system, Wall Street, was about to collapse. He bailed it out and righted the ship. Biden brought us back from the brink of destruction where COVID was taking us, and where Donald Trump, who said it'll be gone in 2 weeks, why don't you inject some bleach into your veins? Why don't you, don't worry about wearing a mask? All of those things.
Yeah, but he just, that right there, I don't think he really mean that. Inject bleach. He's just, like I said, choice of words.
Yeah.
You don't.
Poor choice of words.
If you and I
poor
are
choice
talking
of
about
words.
that, and I say that, that's
I don't believe he meant that.
The president
Right.
of America and the free world, you don't say stuff like that. I'm sorry.
I agree
I
with
don't-
you,
I
but
don't
care.
he's just blunt,
You-
man.
you
He
know
just
how
say
they
whatever.
raked
And I'm not,
Obama over
listen,
the
I'm not
coals?
sitting here defending Donald Trump.
No, I know.
I'm
But
just
I
putting
am.
some
I'm
facts out
challenging
there
what you're saying.
for people that's listening in. I'm putting facts out there, and let me tell you my thing. And this is me personally speaking. This is DJ Searcat speaking right now. Now,
Okay.
you had Bush, the father, the son. You had Obama. You had the list goes on. None of them really made us equal in this country, right? Donald Trump was there. He didn't do it either. So
Right.
it's only fair to have somebody new come in. And let's see what the new person going to do. Even though she's coming from Biden that was there before, that actually didn't do it either.
He had a very successful presidency. The bills that he got passed with the House against him and only one vote that could make anything pass in the Senate. He
let's-
got a lot of things done.
let's
The
bring-
Inflation Act, the Reduction Act, the infrastructure. He brought forth a bill. Congress bipartisan brought back forward a bill to help change the problem at the border. And Trump said, "Don't do it. It looks good for Biden, and I don't want him. Don't let it pass." That's not looking out for America. I don't care if you and I say something off the cuff that doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's not going to hurt the free world. Like I can say, this is stupid, or I think this town is garbage, or whatever. That's not going to change the mindset of people. But people have listened to him. They have tuned into what he's saying, and they believe it. When I knock on somebody's door and they say to me, "I'm not voting for her because she's a communist," I'm like, wait a second, where is that coming from? That's coming out of his mouth. Do you remember when President Obama wore a tan suit and the media raked him over the coals because he didn't wear the standard black or blue suit? If that's the only thing he did wrong, holy crap, he was the best president that we could have had. This guy says terrible things about the American people and our country all the time. You can't say it's a one-off thing or he didn't mean it. He means what he
But
says.
we cannot act as if this country is all that perfect either.
No, and it won't be perfect if and when Kamala serves 4 years. Perfection isn't going to ever happen. But I think she can bring us closer to living in the country that we all want to live in and help bring back equality. She has suffered racism. She has suffered being less of a person because she's Black, because she's a woman, because she was Asian American, and because she was a woman that stood up in a man's world. Even if she was a white
Ain't her
woman.
father Jamaican or something like that?
Right.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Which,
Okay.
how did the Jamaican people get to that island? They were brought there from Africa.
Yeah, just like how they brought here from Africa to the United States too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the ship dropped everybody off in different
Yep. Those ships came for 200 years, bringing people into this country that didn't want to leave their homeland and were forced into labor and living the life that they never dreamt of for themselves or for their children. I can't even fathom the feeling in your heart that was how the people that you came from, your lineage, this is how they were treated. Oh my God, it breaks my heart to think about it. And I just know that I don't want my kids to live in that world. I want it to be better for them and my grandkids. I look at their faces and, when I put my head, look at me, I'm getting all misty. I promised myself I wouldn't. When I put my head on the pillow at night, I want to know that I have done everything I can that day to make sure that I've made it a better world for them. And right now, the political activism that's going on this last 2 years has been consuming for me. My husband said to me, what are you going to do after the election with yourself? You're not knocking on doors. You're not writing postcards. You're not, making phone calls. I said, I want to read a book. I want to put my feet up. I want Kamala Harris to get elected so she can do the work that will bring us together. Will help raise the generations of people that have been oppressed for so long. And that is black and white.
I want to bring something up very important before we
Sure.
get out of here. So, police brutality, right?
Yep.
And I know you have seen a lot of the tragic deaths by the hands of police
George Floyd.
officers. Not only him, it's a bunch of them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I guess when
a
it
man
happened,
out jogging.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's a bunch of different, and majority of them are blacks. I
Yep.
would say 99% are blacks.
Yep. It's racial
Now-
profiling, 100%.
What are Carmela is going to do about that? So number one, before you answer that question, I think we need better police training.
I do too.
We need
And
better police
that's
training.
that's where the Republicans have gone, where, they wanted to fund the police. No, we don't want to defund the police. We don't want millions of dollars to go to the police infrastructure that's going to train them to abuse and arrest and kneel on someone's neck. The defunding that they want to bring forward is taking some of that funding and put it towards mental health, psychology training. They want to be able to, when someone's experiencing a mental health crisis that is not doing anything illegally, and someone in the family calls and says, hey, they might be, injuring themselves, they need some help, instead of sending in a police officer with a gun, and a lot of times it will be a black family, you don't come in with a gun shooting them. You send a mental health worker that says, hey, what can I do for you? How can I talk this person down and help them? That's where the defunding they want to come in. They want to be able to fund more help psychology and mentally for folks to be able to work through the crisis that they're going through. Not that, I can't remember the woman's name. I'm so sorry, but she happened to be in her own house and something happened within her own home. The family called and said she needs some help. The police came in and shot her, and her life is over. And all she needed was someone just to help her out a little bit. And it's insane. I totally agree with you. You were asking me what Kamala Harris is going to do it. Well, first of all, she was a federal prosecutor and she knows that the injustice exists. So she's going to try and help that be balanced, but she can't do it if she doesn't have the power. She did a lot of good things in California where she was the attorney general. But right now, being the president of the United States and being in charge of the Department of Justice to help them guide through this system to correct a lot of these wrongs, we need somebody like that. You heard Trump say not too long ago, hey, you know what, cops, when you go to shove that felon, that criminal, that vermin into the car, make sure you hit their head on the edge of the car as you tuck them in. That's not helping a person that's having a crisis or made a mistake or did something wrong, or even if they were a murderer in front of you. That's still a human being, and you are proven innocent. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. He does not want any justice for anybody except himself. And believe it, he ran for president again to keep himself out of prison, because all of those things that he's not only been convicted for right now, but are still coming down the pike for him. If he gets elected, he has the right to have the Supreme Court erase it all, and he will not suffer any consequences for what he's done.
I'm so happy you brought that point up, because I think if Donald Trump is able to wind up in court, got charged felony at that, those are felonies, right?
Yep.
they should remove that off the job application too.
If you're a
If
convicted
you're
felon,
if you got charged
except if you're running for president.
yeah, but what I'm saying is he's still like, this is a privilege I'm talking about.
I know.
This is why I bring up privileges, because how you able to go run for president, you know, after going through all of that with felonies, but you still keep on the job application, have you ever been a felon? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
You
I
should.
think if you've served your time and you are now a free person, I think you should get your right back to vote. I think you shouldn't have to expose that. And well, let's say in the case of you were a murderer or a rapist, I don't know. I think
No,
that
some things. No. Some things you don't. You know what I mean? I think it's the nature of your charge or whatever you've been charged with. If you're a murderer or a rapist or something cruel like that, then that's what they should look at. But if you
got arrested for a bag of weed, in
Yeah,
your
or something
car,
like that,
and
you know
now
what I
you're a
mean?
convicted felon, and you have to expose that, and then that puts stigma around you being somebody that could be a good a worker for a company. Yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Have you
they
ever
should-
heard?
they
This
should-
is off topic, but it's on topic. Have you ever heard of the company that? Excuse me, 1 second,
yeah,
folks.
go ahead.
I will be done in just a. We're all doing the same work here. Lynn gave me permission, but thank you.
Okay. I guess our husband interfering, right?
It'd be like that, you know?
Yeah, he's interfering. All right, but we getting it together though. We only go ahead. Now we can hear you now.
Dave?
Go ahead.
You can hear me? Okay. It's a company that was started. I'm not sure if he was a felon himself, but it's a wonderful bread company. Try it if you've never tried it. He actually only hires convicted felons, that he gives them a chance to have a career and to move forward with their lives. And there's no stigma attached to them being there. And I think there should be more companies like that. And there are, but this is one that became known to me. I've been buying the bread and I loved it. And then when I found out the story, this is a guy that's here helping us, but apparently he's having an issue for a while. So anyway.
Okay.
It takes all kinds to make the world go around.
Okay.
Hopefully when he's knocking on doors, he is convincing people.
On
to
that
vote.
note, we only got a few minutes. We got like 5
Okay.
minutes before
Yep.
we leave the building. But before we go, I'm gonna play another clip that I wanted to play.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
Young America, Kamala Harris thinks you're too stupid to realize she's to blame for our record inflation.
What else do we know about this population? They are stupid.
Too stupid to realize groceries cost 26% more.
The cost of eggs keeps rising.
Kamala took $2 gas and made it 6.
They are stupid.
Too stupid to notice new home costs increased by 46%. Electricity, 25%. Cars, 33%. And healthcare, over 18%.
Bidenomics is working.
Right for America is responsible for the content of this advertising. Young America,
Okay.
Kamala Harris thinks you're too
Is there any truth to that?
What do you think, Chia Cat? First of all, they don't.
I'm looking at the
government-
prices and everything that
Biden, hold
ahead.
on, because Biden and Harris have no control over corporate greed. They can only hope that they can keep some caps on it. But again, the price of eggs, I was just talking about that, the price of gas, the price of healthcare, it is corporate greed. You look at the CEOs of these companies that not only their companies making billions of dollars in profit, but they are also going home with their bonuses and their commissions and their checks of millions of dollars for themselves. Yet, take Walmart, for example. The average Walmart worker is barely making minimum wage, and most of them are on financial aid through the government, food stamps. They can't afford sustainable work for themselves. But the Walton family is mega rich. It's insane. Harris and Biden have nothing to do with that. She wants to get in there and keep a cap on these companies so they can't keep raising the prices or get them to lower them so it's affordable for people. However, we have to understand where that greed is coming from. They don't want that to happen to the American people, yet the corporations are in control of that. So
Okay.
I'm going to say that there's no truth to that.
Okay.
And I know our half-hour interview. Wow, what is that?
Well,
22?
it was needed. It was a lot of
There's a
information.
lot to talk about.
A lot of
I mean, I wish I
information.
could solve the world problems in a half hour. And I wish I could convince everybody that's listening that they need to go out and vote, that their voice does matter. And especially in your down ballot races, think about your senator and your congressman, because if Kamala Harris does not have the majority in the House and the Senate, she will be powerless. We have a do-nothing Congress right now. Even though Biden was such a negotiator across the aisle, he was able to get the Inflation Reduction Act to pass and the infrastructure bill to pass. That was wonderful. But again, they're fighting him all the way. So if we get the House and the majority Senate and Kamala Harris, and she'll be able to get some work done. Let's give her a chance. Trump has shown us who he is, and he didn't do anything. He made COVID worse. He made, people suffer. So think about when you do vote your down ballot from your senator, your congressman, your town councils, your board of ed. People don't pay attention to the board of ed races a lot. It's important that those people get in there that make decisions for our children are the right people. Book banning is happening all across the United States. Why can't, if you don't want your child to read a book, that's fine, but don't make that decision for every other child in the school. The prejudice against an LGBTQ student being in a school. But Trump said something a couple of weeks ago about that kids were going to school and getting a sex change during that day. And when they came home, they went from a boy to a girl. Are you kidding me? A nurse in the school can't even get a Tylenol without the parents' permission. Kids are having sex changes in one day in a school, but he perpetuates these lies. And if he says them often enough, people hear the rhetoric over and over again, and either there becomes a blur that they don't pay attention to, or they start to believe it. So we need to change the narrative around this. We need to get a president in there who is going to continue to work every day for the people and prove herself. And that's the best I can say.
Okay.
And I have to again tell you, I'm so thankful for this opportunity to speak to all of the people that are out there listening to you every day, especially the American people. And while I'm in Pennsylvania, nationwide people are listening to you.
Were you born and raised in
If you're a red
Pennsylvania?
state or a blue state, your vote matters.
Were you born and raised in Pennsylvania?
No, actually, I was born in New York State, lived there until I was about 9, and then moved to Jersey with my family. And my husband is originally from Pennsylvania, but when we got married, he moved out by me. So I'm a Jersey Goyle. However, I visit Pennsylvania a lot, and I love this area where we are. It's so beautiful, and I want people to be able to live where they are and prosper and live the middle class life that they want.
So, Joanna,
and everyone.
So you have any more questions for her?
I don't have any questions, but I mean, unless you want to give the people just advice who doesn't want to vote. I know you feel it's very important that everybody votes, but there are a lot of people who are really just not trying to vote. So
yeah, well, you're giving your voice away. If someone tried to, if you were trying to have a conversation with someone like this guy was here and they try to shut you up, I don't want somebody to take my voice away. So no decision is still a decision. Vote for someone who gets the opportunity for us to be able to correct it, but someone that has proven who they are, we have to not let that be, because if people don't think that this is the fate of the world riding on this election, they really need to look at it closer again, because he will pull us out of NATO, which is the alliance treaty that we have with many nations around the world that we will help protect each other. He wants to pull us out of that. He wants to pull us out of Ukraine so that Putin can march across Europe. He doesn't believe that, that we should protect any of our land. He wants to drill, baby, drill, even though the United States has the most drilling going right now of any country in the world, and there's not a shortage of oil or gas. But people are starting to tune in now, which is good. But make an informed decision. An informed voter is a good voter. And if you don't feel that any of this is going to affect you, you need to look at it again, because somewhere along that spectrum of what Project 25 is going to take away and what Kamala Harris can do for us is really going to affect your life. And that's all I can say. So I just hope that people will vote to protect their rights, their children's rights, their own future. And I talked to a lot of young people. There's a lot of young people that have been coming out to help us knock on doors, which has been so awesome. And they know that their future is in danger because of what's going to be handed down to them. I've been watching The Handmaid's Tale, and I don't know if anybody else out there has, but that is scary stuff. That's a dystopian universe that's coming our way. It's happening now. It's happening with the abortion ban.
Let me ask you another question before we go.
Sure.
What do you have to say to the people that worried about a woman becoming a president?
Yes.
I'm not sure why they're worried about that. Maybe they're people that have problems with their moms. They didn't get along with them. Maybe they're afraid of the control that's handed off to a woman. That actually women run the household. We pretty much run the world. Unfortunately, it's a patriarchal society we live in. I think that women have the ability to multitask. They have the ability to do what's right for everyone, not just for themselves. He's out for himself. I think it's time for us to have a woman president. I have recently had a chance to visit the Capitol building, and I went into the rotunda when we were giving us our tour, where they have statues from all over the states, other people. There was one statue in there that had 3 female leaders, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, and Susan B. Anthony. And they were carved into marble. And I'm like, wow, that's wonderful. But why is there one piece of marble not carved? And they said that has been reserved for the first female president of the United States. I got chills. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, that's going to be Kamala Harris. I'm like thrilled that they reserved a spot for whoever that's going to be. I think she's going to be an awesome president. I think she's going to do what's right for all of us, not just for her own self-interest or the rich billionaires that are pushing a lot of money into this to make him be president again, to protect their own financial future. But by the way, who are they protecting? Because climate change is still going to affect them. If they make people poorer, who's going to buy all the crap that they sell every day? We're not going to be able to afford to support them anymore because we are going to be broke more than we are now, especially with the tariffs that he wants to impose. And if we could talk for 9 hours, I still wouldn't have enough time to tell you everything that I am so passionate about right now. But I do know that please understand your vote is your voice. Don't let someone take that away from you. You're voting for your own future and your own civil rights and your own protection, especially as women. Listen to your inner voice, tell you what you need to do.
Well, you know what, though, before you go any further, as a black person, I know I'm speaking for myself, and I know a lot of black people should, well, obviously are thinking like this, right?
Say that again, I didn't understand.
Oh, let me turn my mic up a little bit.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not even going to go there. I'm gonna leave that subject for another time because we don't have enough time to go there. So I'm gonna pass on that one. I'm gonna pass on that one. All right.
I didn't hear what you said. So.
You can hear me now. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I hear the masses applauding for us, so that's great.
It's all right though. But anyway, thanks for being on MIXUPTV.
Yes,
you know, we went way over 30 minutes.
We did.
But it was
you know what? It's good stuff that we talked about. And I hope that people will tune in and listen to exactly what they need to do for their own future. And I can't say any more about the power of our vote.
Do you believe, what's her name? Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Do you believe she will win?
I believe in my heart of hearts that she's got this election, but we thought Hillary did too way back when. So I'm holding my breath until that moment. I'm working the polls that day, so I'm going to be very busy. I'm going to be checking people in to cast their vote. But at the end of the night, we're all gathering a bunch of us at one of my friends' homes, and we're just going to sit there and probably have a few glasses of wine and hope that the results come through. I'm hoping for a landslide.
Do you believe
I'm hoping for a landslide.
Do you believe Donald Trump still have a good shot of winning?
I feel that everybody, that the pundits and the polls that are coming out, they're saying it's so close, it's neck and neck, we can't call it. I don't know. A lot of the early voting that has come in, they saying a lot of Republicans have been voting, which they normally don't vote by mail because he told them not to, but then he told them to. I have a feeling that a lot of those people have turned their vote from Republican to Democrat. Even though they have an R after their name, they realize the importance of not letting him get in. People like Kelly and Millis, that are 2 generals that were in his inner cabinet, they have come out and said, and now people in the military are not allowed to express their public views politically. They have both said, this man is a racist. He will destroy our country. We need to make sure we stop him. That is powerful stuff.
I
Both
believe-
Liz Cheney and her father came out and said, we would never vote for a Democrat, and we're voting for Kamala Harris. And there's been over 200 officials that were in his inner circle, in his cabinet, that have said, please don't vote for him. We know what he's like. We were next to him. We saw what happened. Please don't vote for him.
Okay.
So I'm keeping the faith. I'm a very positive person. I'm positive that I want her to win, and I'm hopeful that people will vote and put us across the finish line.
Okay. On that note, we're going to get out of here because we've been here for a while.
Everybody go out and vote. Very important.
Yes, let's go out and vote, you know.
Yes.
Go out and vote.
Vote, vote, vote.
Vote, vote, vote.
Please go vote. And I'm with Action Together in New Jersey as well. Anybody that lives in our state or the surrounding area, you can come and help us, do our work, because the
What you
elections
guys
are never over.
can
Next
you
year's
give
gonna be a
us
governor.
do you have any contact information for the listeners, or if they want any information, where can they go?
Action Together New Jersey at atnj.com. They can go there to look to see the work that we're doing. Go to your Democratic organization within your state or your county and find out if they can give you some information about your candidates, what you need to do to help us win the vote, or help volunteer and get involved. You know, whether it's donating, putting a lawn sign in, or knocking on a door. We have a lot of work to do yet. There's 168,000 people in this county, and we have probably reached out to less than half of them, but we're still doing it every day right up until Election Day.
Okay.
Nice.
And
All right, this is Mix Up Radio, MIXUPTV.com, and
I want to say thank you again for opening your door to me, hearing what I had to say, and inviting me into your platform to talk to folks. It's an honor.
yeah, you're welcome. And I'm giving everybody that's out there, do remember my show is live each and every Tuesday at 2 p.m. sharp. What I do on my show, I play up and coming artists. Doesn't matter if you're a hip hop, R&B, pop, rock. As long as you're an up and coming artist, you can submit your music to MIXUPRadio.com, and I will give you some airplay. Okay, you also could donate to the program. The donate link is right there. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. sharp. And do remember to catch
Your Girl Joanna Lake every Thursday, 12 to 2.
Okay, and
I'll check that out.
Yes, thank
I
you.
have become a fan. I didn't know about your platform, but I'm going to be a listener.
Oh yes,
Amen.
yeah. You listen to a lot of hip hop and reggae.
I love hip hop. Hamilton is my favorite all-time hip hop. It tuned. My daughter came to me. My daughter's 47. She goes, "Mom, you love Hamilton and you like hip hop?" I'm like, "This is my kind of hip hop." I've watched it 30 times. I've listened to it constantly. I cry when I listen. I laugh. I rejoice. And it's tuned me into a lot of hip hop music, so I love it.
Well, if you want to hear some good reggae, go and search DJ CEO Cat. Cat spelled with a K. Go search DJ CEO Cat and stream my music. I'm on Spotify.
And by
Apple
the way,
Music,
I did
YouTube.
listen to some of your daughter's music. I played it for the folks here the other night. Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, they love it.
Aw.
Yep.
Star Lexi.
Yeah, she's
Star
fire.
Lexi.
Yeah, she's a little bit under the weather right now, but she'll be all right. Okay, take
Well,
care. I wish you well in
Thank
everything
you.
you're doing.
God bless you. Thank you
God
for
bless
coming
you.
on.
Thank
for coming
you.
on.
And please don't forget to vote.
Yes.
out the building.
Vote. Everybody vote.
Everybody
Bye.
vote.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.